Today on Florida Sportsman Best Boat, we're looking at 3 center consoles that are made for the Gulf Stream and are at home in the islands. Center console fishing machines 30 to 32 feet in length can be classified best with one word: range. These large, stable platforms can handle some nasty sea conditions in comfort. Most boats in this size range will have a fuel capacity well over 200 gallons and only require twin engines. This will give you plenty of performance with a manageable fuel burn. The security of the second outboard also gives an angler peace of mind when venturing far from the side of land. Some key features to look for in this class of center console are: in a center console of this size, long-range trips can easily be made. With ample in-deck storage, you can take along all of the gear necessary for an extended stay. For your boat to be used as a serious offshore fishing machine, you'll need enough tackle storage for an assortment of blue water lures and rigs. Having a level cockpit deck is another advantage of a center console in this class, and is something that will be much appreciated when you have a large crew on board. Comfortable helm seating makes long runs out to the Gulf Stream, the middle grounds, or even over to the islands much more enjoyable. When the function of your boat has to include the family, choose an interior layout with bow seating. It's the best place on the boat for entertaining. A T-top with rod holders is a must-have for an angler who wants to bring along all of his gear and switch up his fishing plan on the fly. Multiple live wells are found on many large open fisherman boats and allow you to take along enough bait to ensure you won't run out. A boat with a functional console design becomes your command center and puts all of your controls within easy reach. Any center console that's going to be fished offshore needs to have insulated boxes for icing down your catch that can double as storage. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they feature 3 center console boats in the 30 to 32 foot range that are designed for fishing hard in blue water without leaving your family behind. They are the Andros 32, with an overall length of 32 feet 7 inches, a beam of 9 feet 10 inches, and max horsepower rating of 750. The Cape Horn 32, with an overall length of 31 feet 10 inches, a beam of 9 feet 1 inches, and max horsepower rating of 700. And the Contender 32 ST, with an overall length of 32 feet 8 inches, a beam of 9 feet 8 inches, and max horsepower rating of 700. They'll be conducting walkthroughs, test drives, and reviewing key features, all to help you decide if this is the best boat for you.
Welcome to this edition of Best Boat. I'm Dave East, boating editor of Florida Sportsman Magazine.
I'm Rick Riles, program director of Florida Sportsman Radio Network.
And Rick, I hate to admit it when you're right, but this time you were absolutely right. We were talking about this class of boat, and I was trying to figure out how do you describe a 32 center console, and you hit it right on the nose when you said range.
That's it, Dave. So many guys, and you should be used to me being right by now, by the way, but so many guys are fishing weather buoys and oil rigs and other sides of currents and just stuff. There's such a thing as advanced blue water fever. And when you get it, a 32 center console may well be in your future.
Well, most 32s, that's not going to be a guy's first boat. He started in a smaller boat, he's worked his way up, and now he needs a boat that has got longer legs. It can get further out in the Gulf Stream. It can go out and fish the middle grounds off of the west coast of Florida. Maybe you're in another part of the state and like out of Pensacola, you want to go fish the DeSoto Canyon. You need a boat that can really go out there. Plus now, he's probably got 4 or 5 fishing buddies that want to go too.
Well, Dave, 4 or 5 fishing buddies helps defer the expense in a boat like that too, but you've also got to consider he can spend the night in that boat. There's a lot of guys sword fishing now. They want to troll in the daytime, they want to sword fish that night. It's a big enough boat to handle that. It is not the commitment. Just think about it. 32 center console, you can almost always pull it with a single axle truck. That doesn't mean that you have to have a second vehicle dedicated just for pulling your boat.
Well, not only that too, it would fit in most driveways if you've got a large enough driveway for a 32-foot boat because you got the trailer and the motors. But speaking of the motors, you're only talking about twin motors. When you get above 32 feet, you really probably should have triple power. So having twin power on the back, it keeps the expense of buying the boat down, the expense of maintaining that boat down, and you're going to burn less fuel. But you're going to do it in a boat that's big enough to where, let's face it, if it's too rough for a 32 center console, you're going to stay here in the marina.
That's exactly right. Rough is rough.
Well, you know what? If we have someone out there who's in the market for a 32-foot center console, one of these 3 boats will be their best boat.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This segment brought to you by Bennett Marine, superior by design.
50 years ago, Bennett Marine changed boating forever, inventing the trim tab, getting you on plane faster, improving fuel efficiency and performance, balancing loads. Today, more than 1 million systems later worldwide, boats all sizes. Bennett Innovation, durable and dependable trim tabs and hatch lifters. Your only source for both hydraulic and electric systems. Bennett Trim Tabs, superior by design, legendary service. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This week, we'll be featuring offshore center console fishing machines in the 30 to 32 foot range.
All right, a boat company that actually got its start manufacturing pangas, Andros Boat Works. And what I like about their new offshore 32, they kept a lot of the functionality of a panga and they designed it into this new 32.
You're right, there's nothing about it that looks like a panga till you go through the features and then you recognize some of them from back in the old days.
Well, you were talking earlier about the deck. Tell me a little bit about that, why it was so important.
It's real important to me, Dave, because when you're chasing a fish up the side of the boat, whether you're the gaff man or the rod man, gosh, those steps, when you go up to a different level, when you go up onto almost a casting platform, can be so problematic. It is so easy to run up that deck without tripping over anything or without sliding down off a step. I got to ride on this boat today. She wants a little chop. She wants it to be a little sporty. This is a queen of the Andros fleet and it handles beautifully in a head seat.
Well, I know you spent some time on it and there's some other features I want to look at. Come show them to me.
Look at the room. When you don't put anything else up here, it is all uncluttered. It is all even. Gosh, it gives you a lot of fishing room.
Well, it really does. The first thing that I noticed, though, is the amount of below-deck storage, because this is a boat that is just begging to be taken over to the islands. So let's say you load it up with all your buddies or your family. You're going to go spend a week or two over in the islands. You can store everything you need to bring with you all below deck, and that's huge because that way there's nothing left on top of the deck while you're crossing the Gulf Stream.
And that makes a big difference on a rough day, I promise you. Everything down below deck, near the center of gravity to the boat, not rattling around where it can slide and get in trouble.
Well, we talked about the lower gunnels, and I really like them. Look, they're high enough to keep you in, so you have that secure feel. But if you need to reach over the water to, let's say you're going to grab a billfish by the nose, let's say you're going to gaff a fish, if you're diving and you want to roll it off the side, I like this size gunner.
I even like the storage that they've got under here for your dock lines and your gaffs and everything. Completely out of the way. You don't see it, you don't even know it's there unless you look for it.
Another unique thing I see about this boat, I love the design of this console. The other boats have a side entry door, which is good, it gives you good access, but on this boat, the whole front of the console lifts up. Unparalleled access to get down in there. Here, come check this out.
Oh man, let me tell you when that makes a difference on a rough day. Those little side doors are nice, but oh, you don't want to get down there with the boat bouncing around. This is much more accessible than coming in through the side.
Well, if you ever have to work on anything, I like the accessibility. Every one of these panels open up, everything is right there. Your electronics are right there, all your wiring is right there, your battery is right there, so it's out of the way, it's protected behind a door, but if you need to work on it, it's so easy to get to.
Great design on the console. Again, I love the recessed electronics. How about the 3 AC vents right here? Keep you cool when you're inside this isinglass. I tell you, this is a really unique rocket launcher. Let me show you the features why they did it the way they did it.
All right, well, you know what? This is way more than a rocket launcher. We've seen a lot of boats in these last 3 seasons of Best Boat that have stations up top. I have never seen one this easy to get up on. Most of the time you have to be a contortionist and climb up the side of the console. This is so easy and so safe to go up over the back. What a great design.
Every inch you raise yourself up off the deck makes a big difference in how much you can see. And how many of the fish on the surface anymore do we fish for without sight fishing? You think about it. Now they sight fish and spot cast to sailfish. You've been tarpon fishing that way forever. Spotting mahis under a log. Your eyes are some of the most important tools you have when you're on the water.
Well, there's nothing safer than going up and over the back like this. They used a good quality hard top. I love the design of this. This is probably the best second station that I've seen yet.
I love having this tackle storage back here. You know what the beauty of setting it back here is, Dave? Spray doesn't hit here. If you think about it, you're going into a rough ocean, spray's hitting in front of the console and even up to here. It's not coming in through here. That really helps keep your tackle dry.
Well, what impressed me, this boat's 32 feet long. It's got a huge bow. It's got so much room up there when you look at other 32-foot boats. I'm surprised we still have this much room back here in the cockpit.
It's hard to have so much room ahead of the console and behind the console. They did it beautifully. They've got great storage under the deck everywhere you look. They've got a door for your diver to come through, a great live well like so many of your big center consoles do. They didn't miss much.
Well, when you look at this 32 offshore designed by Andros, and you know what, they did a really, really good job. They kept all the attributes of what their roots are in the company, but they designed it in the stuff that an offshore boat really needs.
They did, and you got to look mighty hard to compare it to where they started many years ago. This boat has clearly evolved.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This segment brought to you by Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Fiberglass Florida is a locally owned and operated company with locations in Rockledge and Stuart, Florida. Our knowledgeable staff will help you select from our diverse selection of fiberglass materials by the yard or by the roll. Epoxy, vinyl ester, and polyester resin, as well as high-density core materials. All grip paint in unlimited custom colors. Home to Open Water Concepts, a certified sea deck fabricator specializing in fully customizable kits to suit your project needs. Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This week, we'll be featuring offshore center console fishing machines in the 30 to 32 foot range.
All right, a Florida company that's been around for a long time is a Cape Horn. I know you've seen them before, and they used to be all rolled gunnel.
They did, Dave. They really came in as almost an entry-level boat way back decades ago, and they came from Pensacola, that whole area, and you knew when you were getting close to Pensacola because you started seeing Cape Horns. Man, have they come a long way.
They really have. They've dressed up their boats a lot. Now, this new 32 that we have here is absolutely gorgeous. They've got a molded ring deck, so you've got the look of a molded interliner, but what I love about it is they've stayed with their tried and true interior finish. It's super tough, and what I love about it's a breeze to clean up.
Not only that, but unmistakable lines. I mean, if you see that boat coming down the highway from a mile away, you know it's a Cape Horn. It's a gorgeous boat.
Well, they've kept the toughness that's made their company famous, but they've added enough fishing features and family features to this boat to really compete with any of the other center consoles in the market. Well, normally we start at the front of the boat, work our way back. I want to start the middle of this boat at the console because that's really a focal point, and it's got some features I know you're going to like being a fisherman.
Most people that buy big outboards run them themselves. You don't very often see a hired captain on an outboard boat. That means the boat owner, the man that makes the decisions, is going to spend at least 75% of his time right here. Every inch has to suit him.
Well, it really does. We talk about this all the time. Ergonomics and getting the console to fit you is really the most important thing when it comes to picking out the style of boat that you want. If you're going to have electronics, pick your electronics, make sure they fit. A lot of the big units now won't fit in the smaller consoles.
Having the console the right height, okay? How about a solid windshield all the way up? You can't get wet standing behind this windshield.
Well, you can. I ran this boat today, and you don't get any wind in your face. You can run with your hat on, which is something you can't do in a lot of boats. But the comfort factor, these seats are really comfortable, whether you're standing or whether you're sitting. This is a boat you're going to take to the islands. There's no doubt about that.
And it's extra important to be comfortable.
Well, it is, but something I know is going to definitely be important to you. You're going to love this cockpit. It's got a huge live well right where you like it, and I have not seen a top with this many rod holders yet, but they're exactly where they belong. All right, Rick, big cockpit, bait well where you like it. Check it out.
I love that, Dave, but I got to tell you, a lot of people have a misconception about carrying so many rods. Carrying so many rods isn't about, you can only fish 4 or 5 at a time. No, it's not. Carrying so many rods is about time management, okay? You and I are going sail fishing when sailfish don't bite. Well, 9:30 in the morning, we may want to bail and go snapper fishing, okay? We may want to make a drop for a daytime sort. It's really planning out your day is the reason to have so many more rods, and so many more rod holders makes that possible.
What I like about this area, though, you don't have to move very much. This is a big boat, so if you had to move a long distance in rough seas, it would be tough. Your bait, it's right here. Your rods are right here. You've got your area here that's an insulated place for your rig bait. Let's say you're going to troll ballyhoo or something like that. Even a freshwater washdown, you've got a fold-out seat that we've seen in so many other boats here in the stern, which we always have said that's the most comfortable place to ride. But if you don't want it, it's out of the way. If we're back here snapper fishing, you don't have to move but in this little area.
No, you don't, and the live well is critical because if you're going to have one this size, and this one you can take a bath in, it's got to be in the center of the boat. People don't understand how much difference that much water makes to the weight you're running with.
All right, I really like what Cape Horn did with their transom here. Like we said earlier, you have an insulated bait cooler on this side. You've got storage here, but it lifts out. It gives you easy access to all your systems. Your batteries are back here, your fuel filters are back here. It makes a great trash receptacle. You know, you're gonna have leader, you're gonna have hooks, you're gonna have maybe pieces of bait through the end of the day. You can throw it down in there, like you say, lift it out, dump it out. These are little things that the boat manufacturer took into consideration. When Cape Horn designed this boat, they designed it around the fishermen. They also designed it around the family, so you have one boat that can do both. All right, Rick, we've seen this before in a lot of boats, but when you put seating up here that's this comfortable, this is where the family's gonna hang out.
Well, this is for something other than running 30 miles an hour offshore, there's no question. This is a place for a meeting place, if you will, if you're at the sandbar, if you're cruising the intercoastal on Sunday afternoon, going to the restaurant.
It is, but let's say we wanna fish, all these cushions are removable, there's storage under here. The size of this fish box right here, even the fish that you catch, plenty of room that'll fit.
We're talking about a process of evolution, Dave. Cape Horn started out as a rolled gunnel boat. It was hardcore fishing, that's what they did. They've come into something now that your wife and daughter would be proud to be in anywhere they wanted to go.
I love the design of this boat. It's got the look and feel of a full interliner boat, but like I said earlier, it's still got the toughness of their interior finish that I just absolutely love.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This segment brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the Game Changer.
When filming for Florida Sportsman Best Boat, the cast and crew stayed at Pirates Cove Resort and Marina in Stuart, Florida. Family owned and operated, featuring 50 renovated rooms with an outstanding restaurant and a full-service 50-slip marina. Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. This week, we'll be featuring offshore center console fishing machines in the 30 to 32-foot range.
All right, a boat that really doesn't need any introduction is the Contender, but you know what? We could not do a 32 center console show without the Contender 32 ST.
Oh shoot, no, it was at the beginning of the big center consoles.
What I love about their ST hull, the ST stands for step. This is the only boat out of the three that's got a double step. It almost causes a vacuum underneath, and now it's not going to happen at all speeds. It's going to be at the higher speeds, but as it does, it sucks air under the hull. As that air passes under the hull, less friction, less wetted surface, better performance. It's real simple. But way beyond the bottom design, way beyond what the step does, it's the features of this ST that I like. Look, Contender's been around for a long time. They know the fishing game. They've won countless tournaments out there. They know how to design a boat right. Let's look at the features of this boat, and people will see why this boat is really up there for the tournaments.
I've been a Contender fan for a long time. Let's step on this one.
All right, it's no coincidence that we started the Contender at the back, because here on any tournament boat, this is where all the action's going to happen.
It is, and they are so set up to do so many different things. They don't have a live well on this boat, they have a live well system. So different live wells, different baits. You're gonna have, maybe it's a day when it's rough and you need big baits, you need big blue runners. Maybe you're looking for big kingfish, but at the same time you want a sardine out. Everything has a specific mission and you segregate your baits accordingly.
Well, the way they keep the bait wells plumbed and keep all that fresh water going to your fish, they use what they call a pump box, or some people may know it as a sea chest. There's 3 individual pumps. They each have their own shutoffs, so each box has its own pump. And the way they bring the water into that sea chest, it's not like a lot of boats, they just drill a hole through and they put the pump through and they're dragging a strainer through the water. This, they actually fill the sea chest or the pump box full of water and they pump from there. It's a lot more efficient, a lot less chance of you opening that box to see it dry.
Man, 30 years ago, I thought we'd seen the ultimate rocket launchers. Can you imagine the engineering that went into this thing? Every square inch has a purpose.
There's a lot of storage down in here. They have a fold-out rigging table, which makes great for long runs. One person drives the boat, another person's back here rigging the ballyhoo. Even while you're fishing, and let's say you're trolling, it's still a good place to have where you can put your tackle. If you don't need it though, it folds out of the way, and then that way you have the cockpit all open.
Dave, all the way down to the rod holders. Now rod holders are also drink holders. They've just redesigned everything about the rocket launcher.
And I know we talk about it on every boat is the importance of a good console design, but I really like this one. I like the shadow box. I like the fact that the electronics are further back inside. They have a lid that'll come down and protect them from the elements. But being back like that, if you get in the direct sunlight, these are so much easier to read.
So much easier to see. You're right. It is hard to get the angle right when they're flush mounted on the console. Recess it back in there, it's a whole lot easier.
Well, too, they pushed the steering wheel a little bit. It's almost centered on the console. Look, face it, you're gonna be fishing this boat, there's gonna be 5 or 6 guys on board. If we're running and it gets a little bit of bad weather like we had today, the guy can drive here in the center, other guys can get in around him, and everyone can get behind the protection of this isinglass.
You can get blocked by the isinglass. You're exactly right. It makes for a more comfortable ride in a rainstorm, that's for sure.
I like the switches. They're easy to get to. They're easy to see. All of these are just little things, but when you put them all together, that's why Contender's at the top of their game.
It's not a coincidence, Dave, that you're going to see them in the money in an awful lot of tournaments.
Well, down inside the console, they also have a potty. A lot of storage down there, easy step to get down inside. So here again, a lot of function went into the design of the console. I like the shape, I like the size. I can see over it. You and I aren't very tall, and I can still see over this console even if we're sitting. All right, something you see on a lot of boats is a coffin box in the bow. This Contender 32 ST has a really, really nice one in the front. Come check this out.
Oh boy, this brings back some memories. My daughter, 30-something years ago, was raised sleeping on a coffin box like this, but do me a favor, don't ever show her this backrest. She was always falling off the back end when we ran hard. What a great idea. This is a whole lot easier than the access to a lot of boxes. The lid is big and it is higher in the boat. I'd rather wrestle a big dolphin into this box than I would one in the deck.
Well, like we said earlier, it'll lift up on an electric actuator so you can get to the room underneath it for additional storage when you don't have all the weight of the box to lift. But let's say you're going to run down a big fish. This is also another place where you could sit and you could fight a big fish because it's a lot easier to chase him with those outboards than it is to try and muscle him in with the reel. All right, front of the console, you have comfortable seating there. You've got insulated drink storage underneath the seat. If you look at the overall design of this is a boat that'll do a little bit of everything. I see where I can take the family out. I see where I can take fishermen out. One boat, it's very, very functional.
If you want to venture far out into blue water and fish with several buddies or the whole family, a boat in this class can handle the ever-changing offshore conditions and may just be the best boat for you.
Dave, let me tell you what, running those 332s was a blast. Those are dream boats for so many fishermen.
Well, they really are. And at the beginning of the show, we talked about that we had brought the full gamut of the 32-foot world. And we really did. Now that we spent some time in them, if I had to choose one of the boats, it would be really tough because all three boats did something a little bit better than the other, but any one of them could do anything that I wanted to do. They were just so versatile.
Your choice wouldn't be my choice.
Right.
And that's just how it's always going to come down to. It's what's the best boat for you.
And if you want more information on the three boats that you've seen in today's show, or really all of the boats that we've tested in this season of Best Boat, go to our website, floridasportsman.com, click on the boating page, and hit the Best Boat link.
Or we'll see you next week with another episode of Florida Sportsman Best Boat.
Be sure to join us next week as we look at 20 to 22-foot bay boats on Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Each month, turn to Florida Sportsman for the best in boating and fishing coverage.